Hey guys, just a quick video on some of the things to think about when you're getting an instrument. You got rent or buy. Buying is always the best used because you can sell it for exactly what you paid for it later on down the road if you upgrade or decide not to continue, which is rare. I suggest two different types just because they're the easiest to find. And Eastman, this is a Model 80. This is what most of my students start on. Buying it used on eBay and getting probably about $350. Okay, I do have students who are selling this exact same model instrument for around $350. Just check the website and see what student model instruments are for sale. Next one, Strobel, S-T-R-O-B-E-L. Strobel is same instrument, same company, labeled differently for a different company to sell. But the good thing about these instruments is several things. They are a little thicker wood, their varnish is harder, their glue is a little more stiffer, and it keeps the instrument from being damaged so easily. Something like this, which is one of the instruments, I use this instrument mainly to teach. This is 140 years old. It would be equivalent to what a student model instrument would have been in 1800s. But at this point, the wood is thinner, the glue is correct, for what a professional violin would be, and the setup is very good, just like the other ones. It's very delicate though. They crack very easily, which is why sometimes I want to stay away from very old instruments until the student gets further down the road. Okay, one of the biggest things though is setup. It's very important to get an instrument that's set up correctly. This was an example of not a good instrument to buy. No colors, please. You want to get an electric instrument for Christmas that's glitter colored, great, fantastic. Goof around on it at home. The bridges are usually too high when we get an instrument like this off of Amazon or something like that that's under that $300 mark. Your pegs are going to slip because we live in a very humid climate. You're going from hot to cold to dry to humid, and the peg holes where these are, they expand and contract on wood that is spongy, that has been grown very quickly. So despite this being made of spruce and maple, you'll see that on the description. Hey, it's made spruce top, maple back. That's the equivalent of a car dealer coming and telling you, hey, these are metal doors and glass windshield. Congratulations. That would set off red flags for you if you were buying a car, if they're trying to talk that up. Same thing with instruments. They talk that up. It sounds great. Every instrument's made of that. But all maple is not considered equal. If you've got a maple tree that's naturally grown, it's going to be very dense. It's going to be 60, 70-year-old tree. Or a tree farm that has been grown artificially with fertilizer over the course of like 10 years. It becomes spongy, it soaks up moisture a lot faster, and they dry it artificially too. They'll sit it and bake this wood for 3 months as opposed to seasoning the wood for years and years. And then we have accessories. We have like a chin rest. This one's obviously in the wrong spot. This instrument was donated and I just left it the way it was. You have like the spacing of the strings, you can see, is not even. This nut is way too high, makes things very difficult for students to push down the strings all the way. There's a certain amount of muscle, and if I struggle with it playing as someone who is adept at playing, I know your students are going to as beginners. Very frustrating for them. They think it's their fault. Why doesn't mine sound like everybody else's? Why am I not getting a clear sound? That's just not a good way to start. These little knobs, they start to jam the tailpiece. Then you can't tune the instrument. You've already got floppy strings because these slip when the temperature changes. The kid walks out to the car, or just goes from that hot, humid to cold back in an AC house or something like that. So we want to stay away from instruments that cost less than that $300 mark. If you're a violin, if you're a viola, you're looking around that $350, $400 mark. If you're a cellist, you're looking 500 plus, and basses we'll talk about. Don't bass. Just trust me. Talk to me directly if your student is a bass player. We go a different route with basses. So making sure quality, buy or rent. If all this can't buy one, rent. Rent is rent to own. You're paying $30-$40 a month, depending on what your situation is. And I usually recommend Picknell Music, even though it's not the only one. There's some online companies that are really good and send quality instruments. The problem with those instruments is when it breaks or something goes wrong on it, you got to ship it back to them. Then they'll ship it back to you once it's fixed. You got an instrument problem. You're 2 weeks minimum without an instrument. Picknell, something goes wrong, he comes to me once a week. He'll switch out an instrument very easily, get stuff fixed, and ready to go on the road again. Anything goes wrong, they are very good about working with us, so I highly recommend them also. Okay, and in the end, questions come to me. That's why I give everyone my cell phone, email directly, and you can always contact me. I give that information to all of my students.